Can I tell you something? I wasn't sure about this podcasting experiment. Until I got started making Yoga Teacher Confidential, I didn't even really listen to many podcasts, even though I had a podcast in the first wave of podcasting in 2006. And I spent 6 years announcing on and producing public radio. But a combination of needing to put myself on a strict news diet, realizing I had a lot to say to yoga teachers about confidence, and getting such a sweet, positive response from y'all have made this a real delight for me. Today, let's recap what we've covered in these last 30 episodes, then talk about where we're going next. I'm Sage Roundtree, and this is Yoga Teacher Confidential. This first season has been all about building your confidence as a yoga teacher. We've covered so many angles of this topic, from recognizing that your students are the heroes and you're just the guide, to centering your students over yourself, to how to deal with difficult classroom moments. Let's review some of the key takeaways from Season 1. You are not the hero, you're the guide. In our very first episode, we talked about this foundational concept. When you center your students instead of yourself, everything changes. Your students are Luke Skywalker and you're Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're not the actor on stage, your students are the actors, and you're the stage manager. This mindset shift relieves so much pressure and helps you focus on what truly matters, supporting your students in their yoga journey. You only have to be you. In episode 2, I shared the story of my second ever yoga class where I stepped in when the regular teacher Brian couldn't make it. I kept apologizing for not being Brian until 2 students gave me the feedback that changed my teaching. We could tell you weren't Brian, so you didn't need to apologize for not being Brian. You don't need to apologize for who you are or who you aren't. When students walk out, it's not about you. Episode 3 reminded us that students leave class for all kinds of reasons that have nothing to do with your teaching. From remembering they left the kettle on, to emotional processing, to just trusting their gut, their choices are their own. Learning your students' names in episode 4 showed us how this simple practice creates connection. When you welcome your students by name, you show them they are seen and valued. Your strengths as a practitioner might actually be your blind spots as a teacher. The things that come naturally to you might be the hardest to explain, while the struggles you've overcome equip you to help others with similar challenges. We also talked about managing nerves. Remember that nerves are actually a good sign. They mean you care about your students. The day you stop feeling nervous before teaching might be the day you should stop teaching. We discussed why consistency trumps variety in your class planning. Students need repetition to learn, and you'll build more confidence when you're teaching a sequence you know well. One of my favorite topics was episode 8, why blank expressions aren't what you think. Those blank faces looking back at you don't mean disinterest. They mean your students are having a deep internal experience, which is exactly what yoga is about. And we covered practical topics too, like holding space during hard times, teaching workshops, giving feedback, and confident pricing. In our episode on teaching off the mat, we discussed how moving through the room connects you with your students and builds your confidence. Your mat isn't a raft protecting you. It's more like a paddleboard you can step off of to dive into deeper connection with your students. We tackled what to do when no one shows up to your class. It happens to all of us. And it's an opportunity to practice teaching, to record yourself, or to use the time for lesson planning. And we talked about teaching private lessons, something many teachers find terrifying, but that can be incredibly rewarding when you approach it with the right mindset. These confidence-building lessons are the foundation of a fulfilling teaching career. Without confidence, you might spend way too much time planning your classes, get thrown off when things don't go as expected, struggle to connect authentically with your students, take student behaviors personally, undercharge for your valuable services, get burnt out trying to reinvent the wheel with every class. But when you build your confidence, you can create a container where students feel safe to explore, adapt on the fly when things don't go as planned, connect authentically with your students, Value your time and expertise appropriately. Sustain a teaching practice that serves both you and your students. And best of all, you'll have more fun in the role of teacher. The beauty of building confidence is that it's a positive spiral. The more you teach with confidence, the better your students' experience will be, which leads to even more confidence. And that confidence extends beyond teaching yoga. It affects how you show up in all areas of your life. I think one of the most important themes that emerged across all these episodes is that teaching yoga isn't about performance. It's about service. When you shift from trying to impress your students to simply serving them, confidence flows naturally. When I got started thinking about launching this show, I plotted out a lot of topics and then sorted them into several buckets. The thinking was that each bucket would represent a season of this podcast. Season 1 focused on confidence, that is, what goes on inside your head as you teach your yoga class. The original idea was for Season 2 to focus on what goes on inside the yoga classroom. Think managing student behavior, from the upcoming All Yoga Pants Are See-Through episode. Well, that might actually be all we need to say about that. All yoga pants are see-through. To when students try to teach, basically, we would cover everything from heart attacks to fart attacks. Season 3 would be on what goes on inside the yoga studio. That is, navigating studio drama, how to be a model employee, and a little series called Studio Owner Confidential to share what studio owners wish teachers and even students knew about how tough this work can be. I got as far as planning Season 4, which would then follow this progression from inside your head to inside your classroom to inside your studio to inside your career. The idea was that I would hedge my bets by thinking in seasons. That way there would be a built-in break so I could catch my breath and shift my writing time from podcast scripts to drafting book manuscripts and creating courses. The thing is, I am having so much fun with this. I feel ready to roll on through, and I think you deserve to get content from me on a regular schedule. I have so much to say that instead of trying to exhaustively cover everything I have to say about classroom management next, I'd rather grant myself the freedom to jump from topic to topic. That way, you can get the advice I'm most excited to share, and you can ask the questions you most need answers to, and I will generate podcasts in response. Now, if you listen carefully, you'll probably still hear the original strategy I planned. You'll hear topics on classroom management, topics on studio drama, and navigating your career. But it's going to come at you in a mix so you can pick and choose the advice that will help you best. I hope you will connect with me. Send me a message on the socials at Sage Roundtree, or send me a message in my virtual studio for yoga teachers at comfortzoneyoga.com so that I can hear how these episodes I'll be working on next will help you best. Also, you'll soon see a new set. If you've been watching this as a video podcast, either on YouTube or on Spotify, you'll see a new backdrop in the next episode. Here's your affirmation for today. I am growing in confidence with every class I teach. I am growing in confidence with every class I teach. For more support on your teaching journey, I invite you to join the discussion in my free community for teachers called The Zone at comfortzoneyoga.com. You'll find the link in the show notes. If you've enjoyed this season, please leave a rating and review wherever you listen to podcasts. Your feedback helps other teachers find this resource and helps me know what's most valuable to you. And if you have questions or topics you'd like me to cover in future episodes, please reach out. You can find me at sageroundtree.com or on socials at sageroundtree with no letter D. Thank you for joining me for these first 31 episodes of Yoga Teacher Confidential. I'm so grateful for your attention, your enthusiasm, and your commitment to growing as a yoga teacher. I'm Sage Roundtree, and I'll see you next time.